I was separated from my ex for a couple of years before we got divorced, and by the time we were getting divorced, with paperwork, like hostilities were over, it's no big deal. And we were talking, and she's like, "Oh, so and so said I should go after you for alimony." I'm like, "I think you have to be married for 10 years in order to get alimony." She's like, "Our 10-year anniversary was just like Monday," and I'm like, "Happy anniversary!"
Oh, that deadline for that paperwork was real. Damn it!
So, welcome back to the Bar Talk Podcast. I am Andy of Inebriart, and I am joined by Karl Heine of the New World Tavern.
Hello, everybody.
He is 6'8" and 120 pounds.
6'4",
chiseled from beer.
250.
And Dan Mahoney
What's
of
up?
Stats
Stats.
in South Boston.
5'1", 320.
Goddamn right. Regular little bowling ball over here.
And we were also joined by Tony from Pins. I'm still not going to pronounce your last name.
My last name's Vannozzi. It's double consonants for everybody kind of thing going on there.
You see me struggle reading already. I'm not going to try to make it worse.
Nope.
So welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you.
And so we are here recording at the Craft Beer Cellar, our home away from home. And so I wanted to talk about when you own... No, I didn't want to talk about that.
Oh, my God. Show's over.
I totally forgot. We changed topics. We're going to talk about marketing. So, clever names, why you name things. Why is it called Stats, Dan?
The owners' names are Stat Tires, and it's a play on their last names.
I would have just assumed it was a sports bar.
You know,
It is a sports bar, too.
I was
we
thinking
were
to Sabermetrics Universe today, and that was what everybody's going with.
Yeah. Okay.
why do they call it Pins?
Because we were a bowling alley.
With axes.
Good marketing.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Pins with a Z, though.
with a Z.
Yeah,
Does that
so
mean-
you're different?
The Z
So
makes
you have
everything
to spell your email address
more
every time you give it
cutting
to
edge.
somebody.
Yes.
Oh. So that's a real problem. Actually, you know what? It's not a problem anymore. This is a little bit of an older problem. Because I used to work for directory assistants. And people would spell their businesses clever names. And you couldn't fucking find them.
Well, I mean,
But it's much less a problem now. So, like, you millennials don't understand my pain.
no, I think that if you
Karl?
said my name into a directory assistance person, they would ask you how to spell it, and then they would be like, "Are you sure?" Because there's family members that spell it differently.
Yeah, but you only have to get the first three letters. You don't
Yep,
actually spell
that's
it the whole
still that still can
Yeah.
be misleading.
Because I remember there was, I think it was called Classy Kids in Whitman.
So what were you doing with them?
I was just looking for their number, but they spelled classy with a K.
Well, it's weird that you're looking for classy kids' numbers, but, whatever. Keep on going, Andy.
Yeah.
Anyways, so why did the New World Tavern become the New World Tavern?
Name-wise?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. We have no idea. When we first decided to open, we could not decide on a name. Nothing hit us. There was no good names. And the names that we really wanted to pick were, of course, names that were already out there. So
Pins.
we decided on the New World Tavern because we needed to sign papers and we needed to put something in that was our business name. And we just decided, okay, let's just put that. And a lot of people don't get it. The New World Tavern. It's like, oh, we're going on a New World. We're going to the New World Tavern. And it's not New World Tavern, it's the New World Tavern because of the Pilgrims people. And then when people have been coming for 6, 7, 8 years, and I'm like, it's the New World Tavern because the Pilgrims came over here for the New World. I get it now.
People really don't get that?
No, people don't get it.
Are you serious?
You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked.
I'd be fucking amazed.
No, you'll be shocked.
Like, I thought you were screwing around.
But you know what? The things that I would have changed is the email address. If you want to send me an email, feel free. I only get 4,000 every 6 years. But it's the New World Tavern at gmail.com. And people will say, with 2 W's? How do you spell the New World Tavern? Yeah, 2 W's. It's not the N World Tavern.
The Knee Tavern.
But I think I would have just did nwt at gmail.com next time. Because you got to explain to some people. Some people don't put the in front of it. They just put New World Tavern, and it's the New World Tavern. So for anybody that's opening a business, the simpler, the better.
Yeah. And it's weird. Like inebriart, I've said it before. In retrospect, I wouldn't call it inebriart.
I still don't know how to spell inebriart.
Nope, me neither.
Well, that is an issue, but it's more. I've literally been like, "Oh, you should come to one of our events," blah blah blah, and they go, "Well, I don't drink." I'm like, so "Who gives a shit?" And it's almost like they feel like it's a requirement.
Well, I mean, I think that's the same thing as when you have friends and you're like, "Hey, we're going out after work. Do you want to come for a beer?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't drink." And you're like,
Or
Red Bull?
Yeah.
Oh, see,
Or
I'm
coffee.
thinking like loser.
Well, I'm usually thinking, well, that checks you off the list of
He's
people.
lying.
Like, hey,
He's
I
like,
can't-"
"Oh my god, they invited me out for a beer."
Oh, you can drive then.
Right, exactly. Oh, I can't drink. Oh, well, want to drive? You fly, I buy. I'll buy you all the water you want.
Yep.
I'll buy that endless Coke for you right off the bat.
So simple.
So they won't drink, but they'll do cocaine.
Well, I mean, some people will, but I mean, I'm not one of them.
She don't like cocaine.
That's so bad.
Listen, let's talk about marketing. So there's a bazillion beers out there for craft beers.
Yes.
And you can go for booze, wine, anything, but we'll just talk about craft beer because that's what we know. And I think that a lot of these beers that sell more, especially on a one-time thing, people want to try them, are the ones with the most comical or weird or a name that people can relate to. So if you have, Heine's Pilsner, nobody's going to drink that. You have Heine's Honey Juice Brown Ale. People will have that.
I don't know if they would.
I mean,
People will have that just to have one. So I guess
think
what
so?
I guess what I'm saying is if if it's Jim and Bob's IPA, people are going to say okay, and the people that know Jim and Bob's Brewing might have it. But people that come from around the country and want a local beer, they're not going to know that your beer is local. But if you
could be Jim and Bob from Colorado,
absolutely. And
Well,
if you name your beer something, I think one of the best companies that does that is help me out now.
Evil Genius?
Evil Genius.
Yeah.
Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Stacy's mom, Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Pipeworks out of Chicago does a fantastic job with
Yep.
Ninjas versus Unicorns or Unicorns versus Ninjas. I always get it backwards.
Laser Cats.
Lizard King.
That's
Yeah.
Medusa, right?
Is it Medusa?
Yeah.
Does
I
Laser
mean-
Cats?
There's
I mean, people want to go to your bar and say, "I'll have a Stacy's mom,"
right.
Yeah.
just because
And
it
I
relates
think
to
The
it.
Yep.
first.
But
I
if
think
their Evil Genius ever called it Evil Genius Pineapple IPA, people are like,
Probably
"Eh,
move.
yeah."
What
I
was
really
it?
like pineapple.
Flying Dog had one called Doggy Style.
Yep.
And the
Yep.
first time I ordered it, she's like, "You're just ordering that because of the name." I'm like, fuck yeah.
Absolutely
like,
right.
Absolutely. Like Ninjas versus Unicorns, I was going down a list of packaged beer that I could order in, and I was like, I had gotten a list of like 25 hot IPAs. I get emails about this stuff all the time. 25 hottest IPAs in America. I had like scrolled through it, and I was like, all right, cool. And there was one name that stuck with me. Then 2 weeks later, I'm looking through a distributor's canned beer list, and Ninjas versus Unicorns. I was like, hey, that was on that list I read the other day. I ordered it in.
Yep.
Did,
the name
you know,
name sticks with you.
Right, but if it had been Pipeworks Double IPA, Chicago, Illinois, I probably would have just gone. It wouldn't have stuck with me off the list, and B, I would have been scrolling through for something with name recognition. I mean, there's plenty of companies out there that make it on name recognition. You can walk into most places and get a Bud Light because it has the most name recognition
Correct.
of anything in the world. I mean, you can go into a lot of places and order those big beers with that name recognition. Harpoon IPA, pretty sure you can get one everywhere. There's lots of things like that.
So do you think if they put Bud Light on a craft beer bar, the same product, yet called it something else, something I can't even think of a name.
Heine's American Light?
Yep. Do you think people would buy it and say, "This is really good"?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that they would say it's.
100%.
I would say this. I bet you they would say, "Gee, I probably can drink a lot of these."
Yep. Just say, "Boy, this is actually kind of nice."
It's really smooth.
Yeah.
It's really smooth, and I think
Yep.
I could drink about 28
Yep.
of them before I'm going to feel it.
I 100% believe so because I feel like a lot of not necessarily why, but there's a lot going into it Like, some people don't drink it simply because it's Bud Light.
Correct.
I've had Bud Light. I'll still order a Bud Light. It's not my beer of choice, but it's not horrible. It's a Bud Light. You know what you're going to get.
I mean, it tastes the same no matter wherever you get it.
Yeah.
Right. But the number one thing is I was a bartender for a long time, and people would walk in and they go, "Hey, give me a 20 ounce of your most popular beer. Here's your 20 ounce Bud Light." Any bartender in America that has Bud Light on draft, that wasn't their response. What's your most popular beer? Bud Light.
Well, I'll tell you what. We don't have Bud Light on tap, and I've got 36 lines.
Right.
We don't have Bud Light, and my number one seller is Bud Light bottles.
Right. I mean,
because you're going to get the 4 group of guys that come in, and they're going to try one of each craft beer that you have on draft. And that one guy that drinks Bud Light is going to have 4 or 5 Bud Lights. And your sales the next day looks like 5 Bud Lights and 1. So your biggest seller is going to be Bud Light. Yeah.
Right.
Even in a craft beer bar.
And I think the thing is with that is they, at the end of the day, they spend the marketing dollars. We all know what they're running for commercials. It's the Bud Night.
Yep.
And now the Bud Night Platinum.
Oh, my God, Platinum.
But that was the number one thing on Monday Night Football the other day was they ran 3 Bud Light spots that were a minute apiece.
And there's times I'll walk in somewhere, and they'll be like, "Here's our beer list," and I'll just be like, "Just give me a PBR."
Right.
Like, I just don't want to make a decision. Just give me something safe.
Right. Give me this while I decide.
That's right.
Or even, I just don't want to decide. I just don't want to make a crazy decision. I don't want to have to sit there and read through a bunch of IPAs or
And do the
just give me a
stats
PBR.
of like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a point at which
How
where I'm
much-
like going down the beer list and I'm like, these are all 10-ounce beers.
For $13.50.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll take the Bud Light because I know it's coming in a pint or a 20.
10%.
I know
You know?
exactly what I'm going to get.
I just want to sit here for a few beers and hang with my friends.
Bud Light's safe.
Yeah.
And not blackout after
It's,
one
it's
beer.
to be honest with you,
And
it's,
be able
it's,
to drive after 2 beers.
Yeah.
it's the McDonald's of beer.
Right.
I can get one.
The
and
Bud Light French fries are terrible.
I bet you they are. I'm sure they
Budweiser
are.
ones, though?
Yeah.
But you can get it in Boston, St. Louis, and L.A. and a Bud Light in a can or a Bud Light in a bottle or a Bud Light off of a clean draft line is going to taste exactly the same. I mean, I've gone places and had a Bud Light off draft and been like, "Ooh, this is a little rough."
But that's,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So mostly bars with no windows that are in basements with the dartboards on the back of the door you walked in
Yep.
through.
Yep.
Those are my favorites. Those are the ones I really where you're like, I'm going to get a bottled beer because I know
Yes.
that it didn't come.
Well,
through
there's
some
another thing, too, is we all know we're in the business. We all know that if we ever go to a bar and get one draft beer and the taste is off, you will never get a draft beer from that place again.
Nope.
You might not go there again, but if you do, you're getting bottles.
Bottles.
You're getting bottles.
So, let me pose this question because I work at the craft beer cellar, and tons of people come in and they're like, "Oh my God, look at all the labels and look at this one and look at that one." And I personally, when I'm trying new beers, go based off the label.
Oh yeah,
Like, this one's funny, this one's clever, ha ha ha.
I mean
But-
there's
So that gets
Pseudo Sue has a giant T-Rex on
Yep,
the label.
yep.
I mean Clown Shoes does a great job with their hand illustrated labels.
Yep.
Mhm. But here's
But-
the thing. So I'll try one. If it's not good beer, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to go back for it. The one beer that we constantly get asked for is Maine Beer Company Lunch. And Maine Beer Company's label is just a white label.
With the tiniest words ever.
Yeah.
So-
it just says lunch.
So it's probably going to morph into another subject, but why is that? Why do people want the lunch? Do you carry lunch all the time?
Here, I think they try to keep it in stock.
But they
We
can't.
Sell out. Yeah.
So people want what they can't get.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Or
if
is
you
it that
if
it's
you
good?
had lunch, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong. Maine lunch is
Because we've
is one of the best beers out there. But if you have that beer all the time, people would come and say, "I already had that. What else can I have?"
But what can
But
I
we
have
don't
that
have
you
it all the
don't
time
have?
because people buy it all the time.
Right,
Like,
well-
people will come from...
Understood.
Yeah.
But you can't. If you could get an unlimited supply, at some point, sales are going to slow down because people are going to say, "I already had the lunch.
Sure, I mean,
what else can I have?"
The beer industry, people want to try new things, but
They always want to try new things because they're hoping they're going to find that
the next,
then the next
mean,
main
lunch,
beer lunch.
they want to
Absolutely.
find dinner.
to equate it to something else.
Yeah,
It's,
all right.
Nice one.
there,
That was
there
nice
is
one.
there is plenty of fantastic bottles of wine that are $12.99 because nobody's ever tasted them and said how they are amazing they are. You can go into a liquor store or a bar and get a bottle of wine that is severely underpriced simply because it has, for lack of a better term, not been discovered. Nobody's walked in and been like, oh, I should give this a 99 on Wine Advocate.
That's right.
And it could be sitting around on the bottom shelf, sitting there languishing away, simply because it's $11.99 and nobody ever looked at it. You know, nobody was looking for a 99 from Wine Advocate or a 99 for Beer Advocate in the six packs for $6.99 pile. I mean, a perfect example of that was Dale's Pale Ale from Colorado, from Oscar Blues. For a long, long time, that was $6.99, cheap six packs, and then somebody was like, "This stuff's really good," and it was, you know, they got written up and they got a lot of exposure out of that, but it was super cheap for a long time.
So now, how do you take those marketing? So people want what they can't have. How do you translate that to your restaurant?
Get Heady Topper.
Again, Heady Topper. If
I'm driving through Vermont, I'm stopping.
But if you had it all the time at your restaurant,
Nobody would want it.
right?
I'm not saying
2 months from now, people would be saying, "What else you got?"
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Right. But people want it because they've heard of how great it is. First time I ever had a Heady Topper, I opened up the can and there was no fireworks, there was no confetti, there was no dancing girls, and I had the beer and I was like, it's okay. But if you gave me that Heady Topper and a blind tasting, I would say this beer is really, really good. But the hype was built up so much in my mind that beer could never live up to what I expected it to be.
Absolutely. You expect angels to sing when you open.
It was brutal.
I mean, the first time I had one was my cousin's bachelor party. It was pretty tame. We went skiing. But one of his friends happened to live in Vermont. And
I feel like he's making an alibi for something we don't even know.
Oh,
Right.
no.
It was very tame. Nothing happened.
We went skiing.
Officer.
We went skiing. Actually, I didn't even go skiing. I just sat and made brisket in a smoker in the driveway and drank a lot of Heady Toppers and Sip of Sunshines because my cousin's friend lives in Vermont and was just like, I'm bringing all the beer. He went there like 3 weeks in a row and got as many cans of it as he could, and this was it. Like, yeah, the first one I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's really good. And then by the end of it, I'm like, well, there's 6 cases of it. I mean, I guess I'll have another one.
Yep.
I guess I'll have another one.
And then you hammer it.
Right. I mean, but that was it. Was like, yeah, it was cool to have the first 2. But I think that's, where, the legend of the Heady Topper ends. Because after you have 2, I mean, you could switch over to Bud Light and you're probably just going to coast to a decent buzz.
After 2, you're not tasting anything else anyway.
Right.
Now, let me pose this question to you guys. If you had, say, Heady Topper, so you get 1 keg of Heady Topper at your bar.
I wouldn't have it delivered to the bar. I'd have it dropped off at my house.
He doesn't understand hypothetical. No one likes my hypotheticals. Screw you guys, I'm going home. No.
Hypothetically, I would have it dropped off at my house.
So, Pins has it dropped off at the bar.
Okay.
All right. Do you think you would get better marketing if you put up a sign that said Heady Topper, 1 per customer, or just let it roll? So would that exclusivity of you can only have 1, but we have it?
To me, that's tough to do.
Yeah.
I think that you
Of course
would.
it's tough to do, but
If you had Heady Topper, and by the way, Heady Topper is not around this area, and that's why we're talking about it.
and not a sponsor, unless they want to be.
But if you could get Heady Topper at the bar, and which is everybody's talking about it because you can't get it. Yes, I think a lot of people. If you were one of the few beer bars around, if everybody could get it, then nobody's going to come to your bar. They're going to go to the closest bar.
Right.
But if you were one of the few that got it, yes, people would source you out just to get that beer. If I gave them just 1, I don't know if I would do that.
I think it would just be one of those things where even if you did it at 1 per person, you'd still be out at the end of the day. It's only 1 keg.
Right.
I mean,
As a business owner, I'd rather sell that keg in 15 minutes than sell that keg in 3 days.
Why risk it? Let's get it all.
Get it going.
and then just have the next thing ready to go.
Right. Hey, I'm tapping the keg at 3 p.m. If you're not here on time,
and
you're going to miss out.
And I'm only doing it in 16-ounce beers, but you can have as many of them as you want, well, within reason. I mean,
Right.
again, it's
we
pretty high octane
we
stuff.
talked about this, Andy, when we came in. Lawson's, great brewery. Sip of Sunshine, great beer. You can get that around here now. and it's not as popular or as sought out as it used to be because you can get it now.
You can get it everywhere now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I've
it
turned down
doesn't. It
kegs of
doesn't.
it.
So-
it doesn't make the beer any not as good as we thought it was when we first got it.
Yeah.
It's just that so many people are like, I've already had it. What's next?
And that impulse buy of, I saw that they had 4-packs of it at blah blah blah's liquor store or at the craft beer cellar, and so I grabbed 3 of them because I didn't know when it was coming back around.
Now you know it's going to be around at some point.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
get
see you in
them
2
in.
weeks.
So-
It's fine.
Right.
To play the devil's advocate, and again, I don't know which is better. I'm not even pretending to know. So you say you would tap it, and when it's sold out, it's sold out. If you put 2 per person limit, which again would be hard to enforce, but that keg may now last 4 days,
Correct.
and you'd have someone come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They're not going to one and done it. I've never seen that.
You've
I've never
tried
seen that.
No, but I don't think they're going to
I went and done it the other day and had 3.
But see, now we're talking about on premise, which is the bar situation.
Right.
Yeah. If I put a heady topper or whatever beer that
So
may
would you
be,
rather have a customer come in one day and buy 4 beers, or 4 days and buy 2 beers each day?
I would take the guy that's buying 4 beers.
Okay.
A nickel
get-
today is
yeah.
better than a dime tomorrow.
and that line's opened up for the next big thing. I mean, if somebody has got the golden ticket in their pocket and they can get heady topper and get a keg of it, they've probably got a really good line on something else next too.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's whatever the next unsung thing is. And here's the deal: is if I went in and they were like, "Hey, we got heady topper today," I know that's gone today. I'm probably coming in tomorrow to see what the next one is.
Right.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think people?
And I'm gonna have a hell of a day that day that I tap it because
Of course you are.
now I might have music, I might have this, I might have food.
Well, this
food
and the fact
specials.
that if I
And
let
I'm
him buy
exploiting
4 of them,
the-
he's buying something to eat.
But do you think?
I'm
people-
exploiting the reason that I have that heady topper.
So
Not
it's-
only is he going to buy a heady topper, but now I get him buying a pizza or I get him,
right? But if
pretzel
you
or-
if you limited it, you'd have him there 4 days.
No, I think if you limited it, you're
You'd
still going to be
still
gone
have
in a
them only
day.
one day.
You're just refusing to serve the people that already had one.
And if you put a limit on it, and I came in for that, and I'm like, "Hey, can I have another?" And they're like, "No,
Yeah.
it's limit 1 per customer." I'm going to be like, "All right, cool. I'm off to the next bar."
Right.
But
But
that's
I'm
also
not
my,
one and doneing it.
But that was
and-
kind of my point. Is so you don't put a limit on it. I walk in 15 minutes afterwards that
And
I
you
drove
say-
specifically, been like, "Hey," and you're
Right.
like, "Oh, we're all out." I'd be like, "I don't know. Do we want to stay here?"
Well, that
You
that
know,
could be the
yeah.
case. It could be the case, but
Again, I'm
next
just playing
time,
devil's advocate.
next time
Next
I
time
have,
you're not going to be 5 minutes late.
That's right. You're not going to be 15 minutes late
Yep,
next
you'll
time,
be
and
20 minutes
I'm going
early.
to have a line out the door,
And
waiting
right.
for 3:00 when I tap
Yep.
whatever
The next
keg that
time
is.
Karl posts, I have heady topper on his Twitter or on his Facebook or his.
You're gonna get there an
First
hour
of all,
early.
Carl's going to have to figure out how to use Twitter.
That's
or
why
Facebook.
I. That's why. Well, see, that's why I picked him. I was like, "This is."
He's like, "Where do I put the postage stamp?"
Right. The listeners will be looking for his Twitter and Facebook for a while, and
He's
that's
just
gonna
at
go
out there
least
and
keep
post
them
it anyway.
engaged.
Yeah.
No, we
I
just
have it.
like send out postcards.
Yeah.
You know,
How long does it take to ship it from Vermont? 3 days. Oh, we better get that postage out now.
but no, I think that if you had something that special come in, I would sell it all at once, and I would have my place packed from 3 to 5, and then it's done. And then the people that had 2 or 3 of them are feeling,
Generous.
generous,
Yeah.
and they're gonna get something to eat because they're feeling it, and they're gonna stay longer because they're having a good time, and we got music up there, and it's gonna be whatever day that is. Let's say it's a Tuesday, it'll probably be my biggest Tuesday I've ever had
Yeah.
because something special is going
Because you
on.
can't get it.
Right.
Now,
You've
if-
turned the day into an occasion.
If there's 5 bars in the area that are doing the same thing, not so much.
Right.
No, but that's what that exclusivity that makes
correct.
the Heady Topper so legendary. And I mean, again, those of you that aren't from the Northeast, Heady Topper is a small double IPA company made by the Alchemist in Vermont, and it's only available in that state.
Now, it's funny you say that because I was out in Northern California, and we went to this craft beer bar called Humboldt Brewery. It used to be an old brewery way back when. It used to be Humboldt Brewing Company. And we went in there, and they were $5 for a pint. And I was talking to the owner, and I said, listen, I'm kind of surprised that you sell your beer so cheap. I said, I have a bar in Plymouth, and I'd have to sell them for $1, maybe $2 more. He goes, no, for every keg, it cost me, maybe $100, $110 for a keg, because he's selling a lot of the California beers, and they grow all the hops out there, and it's so much cheaper for them to get that, nobody out there is spending that much more for a beer. And I said, I was talking about Lawson's, and I was talking about Hetty Topper, and this is a craft beer bar that used to be a brewery. And the owner's like, I've heard of them, but it doesn't ring a bell. I'm like, really? He says, yeah, it's not on our radar here. We don't. Hetty Topper, if I brought a Hetty Topper out here, nobody would even know what that is.
Yep.
Just because it's so different from what they're doing out there and in different parts of the country, is just because it's really, really popular here in the Northeast. The other parts of the country are like,
well, they've all got their own
That's
version
right.
of it.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has their own Hetty Topper.
Right. Every region has one brewery that's too small to produce on a level to meet demand.
Right.
I mean, here in Massachusetts, we have the Treehouse Brewery. Which,
correct.
I mean, the only place you can get it is at the brewery.
So, in your restaurant, if you had an exclusive special, some sort of fancy schmancy hamburger,
Okay.
that you had,
Like an Impossible Burger?
sure,
Okay.
but
But if it was
more
an Impossible
exclusive.
Burger made out of meat.
Yeah, there you go.
was
Something
impossibly made out of
exclusive
meat.
that
It's a possible
only they
burger.
could find at your restaurant, and say you had 20 per day. Do you think that'd be more beneficial than if you had as many as you needed?
Well, let me think.
So does that exclusivity thing carry
Does it-
over, and would you have to name it something clever?
I think you would probably want to name it something clever just because that's fun.
It would have to have the pull, and you would have to be the only
Well,
one
of course,
doing
it has to be quality.
Right,
I
but
mean,
if it
you
was-
go to these other places down in the Midwest and the Southeast and Southwest and all that. And if you go to these barbecue places, they're sold out in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and it takes 12 hours to renew the supply.
right. So it all depends on what the want is from the public. But if you had that, yes, that would be. If I could sell my food as fast as I could sell a really, really good beer that everybody wanted, yeah, of course I would sell my food, because if I'm selling my food that way, they're all drinking.
Well, yeah.
And they
still
would
do.
drink whatever I had on tap.
Right. They'd drink the Bud Lights.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But if they're coming for the food, yeah,
better.
I mean, it's such a weird thing for me. For them, some places sell fried chicken, and there's 1,000 people waiting outside at lunch for the fried chicken, and it's like, it's fried chicken. How come people aren't up here doing that? It's
What's marketing?
the barbecue. It's
Food trucks with lines
It's-
around
yeah.
lines around the
yep.
block, and it's
For a
what's-
McDonald's burger, that
Right. For
you know what I mean, that people don't know, but whatever that food truck is has such a following that people want to go there. They don't even know why.
Right. It's a fish taco made in an old ice cream truck, but I'm standing in line.
That's
for it.
right.
Yeah.
You know why? Because everybody else is standing in line. Must be good.
Lemmings,
And it's got
lemmings.
it's got a clever name.
Lemmings. I thought that was like a monkey.
Yeah, but they all follow each other.
They jump off cliffs.
Yeah.
Oh, the lemmings jump off
If, like,
cliffs.
if one lemming jumps off a cliff, follow.
Well, that's a
lemming.
misnomer. Disney pushed them off the cliff.
Oh.
Okay, no Disney movie I ever watched.
I
Of course,
Disney
the,
movie
of course, the
Yeah.
Disney movies I've ever watched, they don't even show anymore because they're
Well, no, they're remaking them now.
racist.
No, the ones when he was a kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Brer Rabbit.
No,
I'm still going that ride.
I'm not even going to get into it because Andy will get mad at me. But there's a lot of
Splash
things
Mountain.
in the Disney that you can't say anymore.
Oh, there's tons.
So they tell me.
They were renovating Splash Mountain last time I was there, and I think that they were removing a fair amount of things.
Was it the one in California?
It was the one in Florida.
Okay.
It was the most disappointing part of my Disney vacation was that Splash Mountain was closed.
It's been so long. Since
We went in
Disney.
January too. That was the worst part. Like I wanted to go on the water ride in January.
You're like, oh, it's still warm in Florida. Like, nah, it's
Right.
still kind of cold. It's still cold.
I'm still walking around in shorts. Why isn't everybody else? Because they live here.
Why is there no line?
So we talked about marketing, and I still hold true that, like lunch, if you make quality product, that's the most important part of marketing, because you can.
I think the quality of the product it's. I hate to say it, but it's step 2. If you get somebody in the door to try it and you're better than everybody else, they'll stay.
So
Correct.
When you're talking about in a restaurant world, is it more being productive and turning that table over and getting them fed and out the door, or is it more being friendly and making them feel welcome? Like,
So I think it all depends on the restaurant.
Yep.
And I know, and then we're going to go back to the corporate versus small time. If you have a 1,000-seat restaurant, all right, and you are doing that business that you're warranted for 1,000 seats, you're in and go, in and go, in and go, in and go, in and go. Whoever's working there does not have time or much time to spend with the customers. And they might be very nice. They might be very nice servers. They might be very nice bartenders. But there's a line out the door, and they're feeling the pressure that, okay, guys, thank you, see you later. I need to,
This is-
and not they're not doing it in their mind to say a good server or a good bartender won't be. I need to flip this table because I need to make money. They're flipping the table because there's a line out the door, and they're feeling the pressure to say, "Holy crap, we got to, we got to get this place going." So
there's part of the guest experience that is, did I get in?
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, guest experience. Well, I walked up and they told me it was a 2.5 hour wait, and I went someplace else. That's not a positive or a negative guest experience,
Right.
but you may not go back on a busy Friday night because there was
you
a
know
line out
you're
the
gonna
door,
wait.
and
Right.
you're not.
But
gonna
if you
get
have
in.
that big place that they're just hustling, and I'll tell you what, they're tired at the end of the night. I mean,
turning and burning.
sure.
Yeah.
they're all doing their jobs. You have a small place, call it a 50-seat restaurant that you might not flip 3 times in a night. You're
do you think it's
more apt to spend more time with that customer
to
and that
kind of keep
customer
them there?
because it's a coziness of it, and they're gonna be regulars, and they're gonna. Everybody wants to go where, and it's the cliche from Cheers. Everybody wants to go where everybody knows your name. That's if you walk into a place and they say, "Hey, Karl, what's going on? Hey, Karl. Hey, Jen. Come on, sit over here."
I've been places with you. It's usually like, oh, fuck, Karl's here.
Right. I mean,
And that's true. But
That was-
we are more apt to go to that place because we feel special, rather going to a place that is going to do, 1,000 seats, and they're turning and turning and turning and turning, and it might be a great atmosphere, but you're not going to get that one-on-one with the people that work there.
I love those places, and I think we're all in the industry enough to have the ability to walk into multiple places and be recognized like that. I like it because I don't have to call friends and see who's like, hey man, you want to go out? I can just go out, and if I go to the places I know, there's someone there I know, there's somewhere I can sit down and have a beer with.
I mean, I think that
In the
that's-
smaller places.
Yeah, the smaller
Oh,
places.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I think that-
So I guess the question was that you asked was, I think there's just a difference between the bigger places because they just, the people there they want to do their jobs and they want to do it great and they do a great job, but they're not there to make friends with you because there's a bunch of people down around the corner that are trying to get in, rather than a smaller place that, you might have 2 or 3 empty tables and, people are kind of coming in and casually going, and that's where you make those relationships with the people that work there.
Do you think... I'm going to go out on a limb and say you go into the 1,000-seat restaurant on a slow night, it still can be enjoyable. If you go into that cozy place that's used to kind of run at their own speed on a crazy night, suddenly you're like, let's go somewhere else. Because it's people who are pushed beyond what they're normally used to.
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
part of this is, I worked at turn and burn restaurants. I did that for a long time, and I think today I'm probably here because I'm on a first name basis with Andy and Fish
It's true.
because
At a turn-
I worked at a turn and burn place, and I
Listen,
was the bartender. And
We're
I
chubby,
made-
lazy guys. You can't turn and burn us. We're
No,
just too
I
much
mean,
work.
well, that.
Need a forklift.
I mean that, and you can
Really,
suck down a
consider-
fair
you
number of
consider
beers
yourself
before I have
chubby?
to say.
If you're 6 foot tall, I'm chubby.
There's a certain point where your regulars are also the guys where you're like, you don't have to look at them. You're like, oh, he's had 6 Bud Lights.
That's
Sure,
right.
He can have another one. It's like, yeah, he can have another one. It's
Yeah.
a Bud Light.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it. Is when you're looking at a bartender, there's really like 3 or 4 different kinds. There's the guys from Cheers who know everybody's name. There's the guys who can stand on a service bar and just feed a restaurant that's more of a restaurant than a bar. And then you've got the nightclub bartender who can read your lips and sees the can in your hand, and you walk up and you hold up the Bud Light bottle and you go 2 like a victory sign, and they get you 2 Bud Lights and you throw $10 down and each one's $4.50 and you walk away. I mean,
What nightclubs are you going to?
well, I'm just saying I was doing that so the math is easy.
Just kidding.
Fridays. Considers Fridays a nightclub.
No,
He
but-
calls it the victory sign.
well, I was throwing that in there because I was like, this is bad radio. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, you throw up that.
I appreciate that. I like that.
And I was like, oh, this is bad radio if I don't explain what it is. But there's 3 different things there, and you've got to find the balance in a lot of bigger restaurants and a lot
Well, I
of
think you have
places
to find a balance no matter what. So the question was efficiency versus hospitality.
Correct.
You still, I don't care if you're a turn and burn or a small restaurant that
people
that
need to feel welcome.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're turn and burn. Hey guys, what's going on? How's everything going?
Why are you here tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to the movies.
Yep.
We're going to.
Here's
do
your
this.
bill. What are you guys up to for the rest of the night? Oh, well, we're just tourists. We're going, oh, make sure you check this out. Make sure you check that
Right.
out. Only takes a minute to say,
And
but
catch us on your way back towards the hotel.
yep.
See, I'll be the devil's advocate here. There's times where I just want to go. I don't want to talk to the server, the bartender. So I'll go to those restaurants.
Well, stay
that big
home.
ones. I mean, sometimes I have to be out in places and need to go eat. But I don't need that. Like, I think that's a luxury. I don't think that's like if you walk down and say, "What do you want?" Then that's one thing. But if you're gonna sit there and talk to me for 10 minutes when I didn't come here to talk to you, I came here to talk to who I came with. Or
No, but I think that's where the balance is.
Yeah.
If they come up and they say, "What do you want?"
A good
I'll take a Bud Light. Here's your Bud Light, and they walk away. Or they say,
I'm like, I'm at the New
you're
World
out."
Tavern.
Yeah. Yeah. If they say, "Oh, you're out tonight. You're here to watch the game. Oh, what you think of the game last night?" "Oh, it's a pretty good game." And people will get the sense from you that you want to just kind of have a couple of beers and not do that. But if they don't make the effort, then that's not a good bartender.
A good server, a good bartender can read that.
yeah,
Usually
right.
at the drink order.
What can I get
and
you?
Right.
Yep.
Hey, folks, how you doing tonight? What can I get you tonight? I'll have a Bud Light. She's in the bathroom, and she'll take another Bud Light. Okay, cool. You come back for the food, and they've already got it figured out. They're going to have nachos and a cheese pizza, and that's all they did was they said, oh, well, what can I get you tonight? Nachos, cheese pizza. They're ordering it all at once. They're either in a hurry or they don't
Right.
want to talk to you.
That's right.
true.
I mean, that's what.
But I think the
defines
service
a
or the
good-
bartender is right. It's what defines a good bartender and server.
You gotta read
You got to read the crowd. I mean, if you're going to a bar and you don't want to talk to anybody, what are you doing at a bar?
Bring a book.
Clearly, you never went to my old bar.
I did,
It's true.
and you kept on talking to me, and I'm like, Jesus
Listen,
Christ.
you talk to me more than
I never talked to you.
No,
you talk to the Ric Flair cutout on the back door.
I thought it was a real person. You put him next to the bathroom. How am I supposed to know? I gave him $5, and he gave me a thing of toilet paper.
Excuse me,
That was
sir,
his
are you in
hands.
line?
I waited for half an hour before I knew that guy was just a cardboard cutout.
I mean, but if you don't want to talk to anybody, bring a book. That's the answer.
I just find that weird when people.
A lot of people actually do that.
I mean, it's.
It's always.
But that's usually like, I'm not even saying read the book. But as a bartender, I've walked up and somebody's been like, oh, blah, blah, and they like come in for lunch and they're like, oh,
I like how I say that's weird. I've
a
actually
Coke.
sat and drawn in a sketchbook. But I'm
Right.
like, people
At
are
my
weird,
bar.
weirdos.
You were drawing Karl.
Yeah, quietest the Fridays bar
what are you
ever
drawing?
was.
Like, it's French, like the French girls.
Was 10 guys sketching in a sketch pad while they drank beers. It was the quietest that Fridays had ever been.
Yeah, but we drank beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't kick you out.
So to kind of change streams,
Don't cross them, though.
don't cross the streams.
But unless it's at the very end, then it's okay.
Then it's okay.
Yep.
You have to answer that you're not a god for. But anyways, so we on the last episode we talked about millennials and their urge to stay home.
Their Netflix and chill mentality.
Yeah. So the places that deliver. So which is more advantageous to a business? Delivery, takeout, or like a third party DoorDash type thing?
I think that
Well-
in the end of the day, getting people through your door to experience your restaurant as a whole, if you run a good place, is way more valuable than dropping the food off at their house.
So do you put? So obviously you put customers in your business at a higher precedent,
Right.
than-
Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
not
You
only
have to,
that,
yeah.
I
but
mean, I can't sell you a beer through DoorDash
That's correct.
the old.
Oh man,
And maybe if
that'd
they
be
like
awesome.
you, and maybe if they like you,
Sunday.
they're going to stay for that second beer, or,
Right, or-
maybe they want nachos and they have had a couple beers and say, you know what, I'm going to get a pizza too, and I'll get one that, to take home to the wife.
Right. At the end of the day,
You can't upsell the DoorDash.
you can't upsell the DoorDash. You can't sell, and I know everybody hates this discussion, but the most profitable part of a bar is the liquor. I mean, well, of a restaurant, it's almost always the liquor.
Correct.
Of course.
You can't sell liquor through
But it's
DoorDash.
an extra part of the revenue, which as a business owner, I love. As a business owner, I really don't love it because when do people want to do DoorDash and all that is when
When
the
you're
kitchen is the
busiest.
busiest.
Yep.
Nobody, it's not like you're going to say, okay, we're slow Tuesdays from, 3 to 5, and we'll do
That's
DoorDash.
DoorDash
And it's really
window.
going to, people are like, well, they're still at work. So the DoorDash comes in always, always, always at the height of the business because that's when people want to eat at their house. It's the same time that people are eating at your restaurant.
Right.
So it is another avenue of revenue, but that doesn't make it easier on the restaurant just because it's a takeout.
Right. And I mean, it does make it any easier on the kitchen. At the end of the day, it's still DoorDash. It's still a takeout order. It's a third party coming to pick it up. They need it when they get there. They're not doing it. When you run your own delivery, I mean, everybody's gotten the guy, and they're like, you call in a pizza, and they say, oh, the delivery driver's out right now. It's going to be 45 minutes. It doesn't take 45 minutes for the pizza, but, it takes him that long to sort you out and come
Right.
back.
Yeah.
And your pizza's going to be ready for him when he gets back, but he's not going to be back for a half an hour.
And then he's got to go out
Right.
again.
And then he's got to go out again, and you're not.
So now you got to plan it based on your delivery driver.
So the
Which,
door-
if you're a delivery driver system, like a pizza shop, sub shop, and that's what they do for their business, they got it down to a science.
And
Oh,
they've,
yeah.
they've
Yep.
got some control because the driver's theirs. With DoorDash, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been standing at my my morning coffee stop, and you see the app orders spiraling
Yep.
out of the printer, and you're like, hey, I just want a cup of coffee, and I'm going to leave. And it's like, they've got these
and you're the only one
orders
in
from
there,
the app,
and they're making like 10 orders in front of you.
and the drive-through's going, and it's,
Yep.
and then at the, you're sitting there and you've watched this guy's coffee, half the ice is melting in it because they made it when he ordered it on the app, and I'm still thirsty.
So I
And
even
don't have caffeine,
I was
and
even
I'm
in fast food chain, and someone ordered their meal on the app and then walked in to get it. I assume that's supposed to speed up the experience.
Well, it was funny because we do it for Dunkin' Donuts. The wife goes on the app, and before I leave the house, she said, okay, I'll put it in, and by the time I get to Dunkin' Donuts, I go there and I take it. I swear to God, I'm stealing something. I don't know why.
You just go walk.
I just walk in, I take it, and I leave. I'm like, it just
feels
feels
unnatural.
odd. Yeah, it's unnatural. But we've had no problems. And I was talking to the woman one day, and I said,
The woman, her name is Jen.
the woman. No, not the little one. The woman at Dunkin' Donuts, and she said it's like a curse because it keeps on beeping and beeping and beeping until you make that order. And some people will do it out in the parking lot and do their order and come in and like, well, where's my order? So like, well, you just put it in 10 seconds ago,
It
and
still
you were out in the
takes just
parking
as
lot
long to cook
because
your
they
bagel.
Yeah.
pulled in the parking lot and saw the line at Dunkin' Donuts. They said, "Oh, I'll just do it on the app." And they walk in and say, "Well, it's not ready." Well, I've got all these customers here. It's not like, "Oh, you did it, and we have somebody just waiting for this, for you guys to do it online, so we can make it for you." It's the same people that are working there,
Yeah.
So it's great maybe for DoorDash and Grubhub and all those guys, but just it doesn't make your kitchen any bigger. It doesn't make you hire any more people.
No, I mean, we do thousands of dollars a week in DoorDash and Grubhub and all that stuff in Boston, and we've shut the tablets off because we're just getting crushed. And I'm like, we can't do. It's affecting our in-house food as long as it as much as the takeout food.
That's right.
And you have to, if you're smart, you have to do that. You have to shut it off. Like, it's great when it's dead and you do $600 extra in sales when no one's in your restaurant. But
So
when
can you
get-
do that? Can you just be
Yeah.
like, no, we're not taking orders right now?
Yep. So you can pause it and shut it off for the night, shut it off for a couple hours. There's different time levels you can do on them.
Can you schedule that?
Well,
Probably.
there's a schedule in there that you can do for
But I
whatever
mean-
hours you want.
Obviously, it's going to be
Right, but I don't think you can
Not gonna
change
be-
it all the time. I think you could just hit the button and say, "Not accepting orders right now."
Hey, Carl,
No,
I don't know
you
if
can-
anyone's told you the rules,
'cause
but
our
don't
sets-
tap on the table.
Sorry.
Ours is scheduled to go to our late night menu after 10 o'clock, so then it takes away
Okay.
half the menu. So there's got to be ways to schedule all that stuff.
Okay. I mean, that's one of those things that, every restaurant battles with is like, you said you have a late night menu. Do you do a restricted menu for delivery?
Same thing you can get in the house.
Right. I mean, but some places you get restricted items. I mean, I worked in a state where we couldn't deliver raw bar items. We couldn't do takeout for raw bar items.
Right. And what
I think
happens? What
you
happens
should
if you're
probably
doing
shouldn't order
that?
I was going to say,
takeout
that
raw.
strangely
Yeah,
feels
that's-
like okay.
No, but I get sushi delivered to my house all the time.
But what happens if you do that, and all of a sudden you get
That's
three
good.
tables of 20 people coming in, and your kitchen's busy, and all of a sudden the takeout is going. These takeout people are going to wait, like whether it's Grubhub and all that. And I call that takeout right now. Some people call it delivery, but we're not delivering it. It's somebody
At
else.
the restaurant level.
And then
or
they come in and say,
Right,
you
from,
know-
from the bar, it's,
Yeah, it's
just
just-
takeout. From the customers, it's delivered.
And then that customers have a bad experience. They're never going to take takeout again from you.
Well, no, the great thing is you blame it on the other person.
Well, you
So,
always blame it on the
Third
DoorDash
party.
driver.
Yeah, you
Oh,
blame
the
it on the
DoorDash,
DoorDash driver.
Do you think the and well, this is an industry. Screw it. Do you think the customer's savvy enough to make the determination they have a bad experience using Grubhub? Do you think they can be like, oh, this is on the restaurant and this is on the driver? Do you think they can distinguish that?
I mean,
Nope.
I think it depends.
At the same time, it's the same thing as when a waitress walks up to you and goes, "Sorry, your food's taking a little while. The cook dropped your chicken on the floor."
That just
and
means
we-
she forgot to put it in.
Exactly. Exactly what we were saying. Sometimes I walk up and I'm like, "Hey, sorry, the cook dropped your thing," and they're like, "What do you mean by dropped it?" I'm like, "Well, to be honest with you, the server didn't put it in," and that's we refer to that in the restaurant industry as that order got dropped. No, but it happens from time to time. It always does that somebody makes a mistake, and my policy has always been you walk up and you own it. If I say somebody dropped it on the floor, it's because they turned around with the fryer basket and missed the
Right.
save a day. Because if it's, hey, your server didn't put it in, this is it. Hey, your server didn't put it in, but I'm comping it.
Right.
I'm still doing that, but this is it. Is I'm going to tell you the truth because that's way more valuable to me than lying and getting caught.
And I think for people that are coming into the door, it's easy to say, "Hey, listen, we're way behind in the kitchen. You feel free to order food, but it's going to take 45 minutes to come out. I just want to let you know beforehand, and you make that decision if that's what you want to do."
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with a Grubhub that expects their.
Sure, you can. You set the delivery time.
Yeah, but they're saying that, hey, I just put a delivery in.
Yep, but when
Right,
you
for Grubhub. But I'm just saying, as a customer,
Yep.
me, and I'm sitting at home watching Netflix, and I want steak tips from New World Tavern, and I put it in. I expect it within at least a half an hour. If it's going to be an hour,
I might as well.
my head's going to explode.
well, they take
I
My
could've
movie's
made it.
going to be over.
it takes into
That's right, the
consideration.
movie's
when you
almost
order. It
over.
says-
I'm more thinking that if I'm at New World Tavern and an order comes through, takeout, delivery for
Carl
Carl
dropped it.
Heine, he's probably not going to want to eat that. You've pissed off enough people there.
Oh yeah.
Don't order from
Enough.
Right,
Grubhub.
we've all seen the cover of the movie Waiting. It's a steak with a boot mark on it.
Do you think that things like Grubhub will basically push the delivery completely out? Like, is that...
No,
No.
because I'm always going to call my
No.
local pizza place
That's
that's
right.
always done
But-
delivery.
And they can't do it because they have so many deliveries.
But
they have
take-
3 or 4 or 5 delivery drivers on for that one place.
But takeout pizza's a little different.
But at this
Like
point,
a pizza shop specifically.
yeah, but I will never have a delivery driver deliver.
Okay.
To me, it's not worth it.
no. But you don't.
I don't do that much takeout or however you want to call it delivery. So I'm not going to have a guy on standby. So it works for me for DoorDash and all. For DoorDash.
DoorDash?
Yeah, DoorDash. Grubhub, all that stuff. It's just that, nobody wants it on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody wants it a Saturday night at 8 when they're sitting around watching Netflix. And
And I could be doing a more profitable business
That's correct.
inside my own 4 walls.
that's correct.
Like, that's really the thing is there's a capacity to a kitchen. There's a capacity to a restaurant. They're usually, at this point, when you open a restaurant or you set one up or when you design one, you look at, I got this many square feet, I got this many tables, I got this many bar seats, I need this much kitchen. And then you add in, like, maybe we'll do some takeout orders. Then you add delivery. It's like when you go into a Domino's. There's 3 tables that are up against the window, and it's a delivery business. Because they know that they can't have that many tables because they're running it on delivery because they have X amount of kitchen
Right.
space. They have X.
So it's planned from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
And adding delivery to a restaurant that's pre-existing is upsetting that balance that you kind of set up with the infrastructure when you walked in the door on the first day and said, this is where the kitchen walls are going to go and I'm going to put my oven over here. This is how much equipment I'm going to buy. This is it. And then when you're altering that, something that integral of the in the concept of like, we have a 100-seat restaurant, we have this many stove burners. I got 8 stove burners. That means I can have a 100-seat restaurant because that's how many sauté dishes are going to be in the kitchen. You throw a 30% more business in on top of that, out of nowhere, that's on a weird timetable and it's only going to be during your busy hours, you've upset that balance to a point where you're not going to be able to give the level of service or the quality of food to the people in your restaurant. And that's way...
And you're going to be doing a lot of apologizing, and then after a while, people are like, I don't want to go there. I waited 45 minutes for my food.
See, I think you have to prioritize what you're doing. In-house food first, and then delivery second. You should be able... You can fix it.
Agreed. I think we're all agreeing with that.
I think I agree with that, but my thing is that at the end of the day, if I DoorDashed food from the New World Tavern or from Stats or from Pins, and I got it and it was cold because it had sat in the window for a long time, or it took 45 minutes, I might not go there to participate in that. Hey, I got steak
I think
tips.
you run that risk, though, with any delivery, even if it's a delivery pizza shop. You're too lazy to go get your own food. That's a risk you run.
Yeah, but I accept that when I'm getting delivery pizza, when I'm getting restaurant, the whole
But
thing
you're getting
about
delivery restaurant food. It's
right,
the same
but
thing.
that's the whole thing with DoorDash is that it's supposed to be restaurant quality to my door.
I think anything,
otherwise
anything delivered.
Otherwise, I just get a pizza.
Yeah, I don't know.
Otherwise, I just get Chinese food because they deliver, and they've always been able to deliver at the quality that I expected at.
I think if you go deliver anything, it's you kind of take that risk.
You never, ever,
percentage-wise, how many pizzas are bad delivery? They picked pizzas and Chinese food as delivery foods because they're easy to deliver.
But you never get good delivery French fries.
Yeah, well, that's
no,
the thing.
just make it impossible. Unless you have a fry later at home, which case you just refry.
You could get like K80's does awesome burgers in house. If you do a takeout and let it sit there, they're not going to be that great. It's the same thing. It's like if you're not going to go in and eat it, you're not going to get the full experience. So I think you have to take that into it.
I think the point is that the time that you want to get those deliveries as a customer, and I'm at home, is the time that restaurant is busy. And if I want delivery, I want it within a half an hour. And if you order from a restaurant, they're going to say, listen, it's 8 o'clock now, you might get it at friggin' 9:30.
Even a pizza shop's going to do the same thing, though. It can be
but the pizza shop has 4 or 5 drivers. Yeah, it's not, waiting for the driver to come, find the driver, come to the driver.
Capacity. If they get crushed with like 50 pizzas.
Yeah, you don't order pizza during a football game. Everyone knows that.
Exactly.
You don't order anything. You don't order Chinese food on New Year's.
Right. So and if you're going to, you go play the bingo with everybody else.
Tony and myself are saying, you have no idea what you're talking about right now.
I know everything.
Wow. My biggest thing is that if you're going to do delivery and you're going to have that people, own it.
Right.
And this is it. That's my thing. Is you're gonna give these people this option, both the customer and the restaurant owner, and really the guy in the middle who's delivering the food, to be, I'm a delivery driver, but I only do it on weekends when it's busy.
That's right.
And I'm a restaurant, and I only do delivery on the weekends when it's busy. And a customer who's like, I only get delivery steak tips. I only get them when it's busy.
So we should just abolish the weekend.
Well, no, we should make the weekend
all week,
5 days long.
Now you're talking.
Right.
So with that, we're going to hit last call. Tony,
last call
coming on. So this is the moment where we take to go around the table and shout out what you want to shout out. It can be anything you want, your restaurant or your cousin. I don't care. We'll start with Dan Mahoney.
Dan Mahoney. I would shout out Andy's cousin and his whole family. So
thanks, man. That's very
welcome.
Sweet. Yeah. Real nice.
That's it.
Tony Vannozzi, I want to just bring back the fact that Pins will be doing live music every Friday and Saturday, or almost every Friday and Saturday, moving into our fall season, and really like everybody to swing by, enjoy some local bands, and come have a beer with me.
Introduce me.
This is Karl Heine.
Hi, everybody.
9'7", 112 pounds.
Karl Heine from the New World Tavern, beautiful downtown, historic Plymouth. Come on down. We have music on the weekends. We have trivia on Wednesdays. We've got a lot going on during the week. Come on down. Say that you heard us on the podcast, and I'll buy you a beer.
Karl, I definitely heard you on Bar Talk.
I heard you on Bar Talk.
No, we're already off. We already
no,
cut.
it's still recording.
Cut! Somebody cut!
All right, this is Andy from Inebriar, and in case you can't tell from listening to this or our other podcasts, Inebriart, Old Colony Cast, and this as well, Plymouth has the best people around, and you should come out and check it out. Apparently 2020 is my year, so it's going to be a great time to visit. And
2020, the year of the Andy.
The year of the Andy.
In the year of
Frog Pilgrims.
Frog Pilgrims.
no bullying beer.
Oh,
Yeah, that's this year.
no. Yeah, that's this year.
Oh, that's
No
this year?
beverage
Yes,
bowling.
What year is this?
No booze bowling.
No booze bowling.
No booze bowling.
2019.
And most of all, I want to shout out to our listeners who are writing in and make this kind of worthwhile. And that's, I don't know why these guys do it, but it's why I do it, to hear the feedback. So if you want to be...
Thursday.
Cuddle Thursday?
Idle Thursday.
Oh, I thought you said Cuddle Thursday. I'm like, I don't know what you're planning on.
Nope.
I'm out.
No, thank you. I gotta go.
Idle Thursday.
All right, so if you want Cuddle Thursday, that's every Thursday at Pins. And ask for Tony.
Every Wednesday, wrestling Karl in the Penn's parking lot.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So you got Wrestling Wednesdays, Cuddle Thursday. Pins sounds like a weird place.
It's good. It's got some good
These
events.
things out in the edit.
So, yeah, so if you want to become, if you want to become, just listen. But if you want to write in, email us at bartalkcast@gmail.com. You can find us on all your social media at bartalkcast. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. And thanks for listening. Thanks for writing in. And we'll do our best to provide you with more interesting topics next time. And
Thanks to Craft Beer Cellar for hosting us.
of course, thanks to Craft Beer Cell.
And giving Andy a job.
And thank you, Fish.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Fish.
guys.
Are you guys happy?
Yeah.
Fish does all the editing, and a little short story to praise Fish because it makes him super uncomfortable. We recorded
He
at
already
the
stopped
Hometown
recording.
Throwdown at Mayflower Brewery, and Jeff Nardone stopped me this actually on the way here and was like, was any of that even audible? And I'm like, Fish did an amazing job, and so check it out. It's the Hometown Throwdown episode on Inebriart, and it was super loud, but it's still audible. Okay, thanks for checking out the podcast. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. There's the Bar Talk. There's Old Colony Cast. There's, of course, the Inebriart Podcast. And our latest, Retro Redoctopus, a kind of nerd genre podcast that you can check out now, all available on our website at inebri-art.com. And pretty much available everywhere that podcasts are available, on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all those things. And if you don't see it where you're looking, let us know. We'll try to get onto that as well. And you can also email us at inebriart@yahoo.com with your questions, complaints, and suggestions. And also, if you could take the time to rate and review us on iTunes, that would be phenomenal. That helps us get more exposure and bring more of these great podcasts to your ears. And thanks again for listening.